Good afternoon, everyone. This is my first speaking session with GIPC, though we have been here for the last 4 years. And I am the director and co-founder of Hourglass Research. We are a California-based firm and with operations based out of Mumbai, India. And we work closely with the IP departments of corporations and assist them in patent drafting, patent prosecution, and patent analytics. So today I would be speaking more upon the optimizing the research and development strategy for companies. So the topic for today's discussion was about how can I achieve value optimization through IP management. So before we talk about the value optimization part, let's take a step back and understand what do we mean by a value chain. And I think none other than the great management guru Michael Porter has explained what a value chain really looks like. So this is the Porter's value chain, and which fits perfectly and in a very simplistic manner for all organizations. So if I were to explain this quickly, you have the inbound logistics. If it's a manufacturing setup, you have the raw materials that come in. Then you have the actual operations and the assembly part where you build the product, and then comes the link in which you ship out the product, which is defined by outbound logistics. And then, of course, the product has to be supported by marketing and sales to maximize the revenue generated by the product. And then comes the lifelong service, or probably servicing of the product offered to the customers to top your service. So all in all, most of the businesses do fall under the value chain defined by Porter. Now, if I were to look at an IP department as a standalone entity, and mind you, many companies do have IP departments that operate as a standalone entity. So if I'm not sure whether you know, Philips IPNS operates as an entity which has its own separate P&L. So how would an IP value chain look like in context of the Porter's value chain? Let's take a look. So in this case, my inbound logistics would be the R&D feed from the innovation, from the engineers of the company. My operations would be creating a solid patent portfolio creation program in which I generate the IP. And then the outbound logistics would be actually separating out or segregating the licensable assets and transferring the technology to the customers, maybe in terms of royalties. Marketing and sales would somewhere draw a parallel with monetization of my IP. And then comes the servicing part, in which I also need to make sure that I manage my IP assets throughout the life cycle by maintaining the annuity management, evaluating the threats, and so on. So this is when I have identified the IP value chain, the next step would be to how I can optimize the value or the ROI, or maximize the returns and minimize the costs at different links of this chain. So traditionally, if you look at it, these are some of the practices that companies adopt to minimize the costs or achieve some good ROI at different links of this. So let me begin with the first link of R&D feed. So the IP departments, they help the R&D departments conduct state-of-the-art studies, patent landscapes, and help them formulate a good IP strategy by filtering out patentable inventions. Then when it comes to patent portfolio creation, there are multiple ways in which you can achieve uniform cost reduction. So like we work with a US semiconductor company, help them prepare around 80 US patent applications each year. So we have a uniform code applied in which we draft only 20 claims, of which 3 are independent and the remaining are dependent, so that we don't exceed the maximum allowable claim limit. So that's one way in which companies can, in this particular sector, achieve a uniform cost reduction. Other things can be like you can adopt a defensive strategy, you can draft picture claims so as to make sure that you get a patent granted within less number of prosecution cycles. Same is the case when it comes to tech transfer. IP departments, they often segregate the high potential assets assets which are identified to fetch the maximum revenue and try to license them out and earn royalties. Yes, monetization has been the buzzword for the past few years, and companies which identify that I have a bunch of non-business critical assets, can I sell them off? Can I make sure that can I generate a revenue by monetizing this, selling it off to some other companies who might just need it? And when it comes to annuity management, again, the company, IB departments, they do have well-defined programs in which they constantly keep on evaluating which countries do I really need to pursue my patent application or rather maintain my patent application. Can I discontinue in one geography? Probably, can I say that the technology for this set of patents has become obsolete, so let's discontinue paying the maintenance fees for these patents. So, if you look at it, patent departments have traditionally been optimizing different links starting from patent portfolio creation till the patent life cycle expires. However, have you ever given a thought of optimizing the costs at the feeder level? Let's look at how the conversation typically happens in the IP department. Most often than not, what I have observed is the patent teams across, now I'm not saying that this is a norm, but most of the IP departments, they do operate as a support function in which you have an idea, send it to the patent department for checking the novelty, get the patent applications drafted. You think that you want to launch a product, get an FTO